Before the mid-60s, Americans had never heard the term SUV, but the Ford Motor Company changed all that. In 1966, the new Bronco was an instant hit when it first rolled off the assembly line. Now, a group of craftsmen in this small shop is looking to rekindle that 50-year-old spark. They're bringing new life to an original Bronco and giving it modern-day technology underneath. Their mission? Make an American legend even better.
Welcome to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now the gang here at Brand New Muscle Car can see the light at the end of the tunnel. From the bodywork to the paint to the mechanical systems, all the major work on this Bronco is finished.
But before they let this horse out of the stall, it's time for some of the finishing touches that'll take this 50-year-old SUV to the next level. In our last episode, we saw the staff install a modern interior, but with a timeless look. In keeping with that vintage theme, the team finished the floor like a classic pickup truck. They hand-cut and stained the pine boards. Then automotive clear coat gave it an extra layer of protection. Metal battens painted black, courtesy of the paint shop, and put together with fasteners from Henry's and Raybuck. Not too shabby for a little shop in Tulsa.
A lot of times we say, Tulsa made, Tulsa proud. We're also very proud to be from Oklahoma. And one of the partners on this build is a place called KIKICKER Audio. And they're right down the street in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And they're really great speaker people, award-winning speaker designs. And so they're gonna come in and do the amps and the subs and the speakers. And a lot of our builds don't have fancy sound systems, but this particular customer wanted one. I think it's great. I'm a big audiophile. I love that kind of stuff. So I can't wait to see what they come up with, because unlike a lot of cars, this car is a permanent convertible. It's a roadster. So it's open, it's gonna be moving, it's gonna be noisy. And one of the many things that KIKICKER does well is marine audio. So they're used to doing outdoor speakers, waterproof speakers, open, no top, open top. And so I can't wait to see what they come up with. I'm really excited about it.
KIKICKER got its start in 1973 in Stillwater, Oklahoma. The mission then was to make high-quality loudspeakers for PA systems. A friend asked if the company could design a sound system for his truck, and in just a couple of years, KIKICKER was a leader in the world of car audio. What was once a two-man operation in a garage has evolved and grown to fill 250,000 square feet.
Our big categories are, of course, still car audio, mobile audio. Well, now we got you covered out on the lake in your boat. Now, our marine gear is phenomenal. And then we've also got our lifestyle gear now. We're now in for your home. You've got Bluetooth speakers and earbuds and headphones. We've gotten into the OE industry as well in Detroit and other car manufacturers. And then we do a lot of things also in the world of the side-by-side, which is a very popular category now. KIKICKER's the muscle car of car audio. We're that meat and potatoes, get the job done, solid. It's gonna work for you every day. It's gonna pound, it's gonna give you a lot of enjoyment. And again, we wanna deliver great product that has a great sound, very fair value, with great service, and we've got a wonderful team of people we think that do that. We have one of, well, obviously we think the best, and we also have one of the biggest R&D staffs in the industry here. So all our acoustic engineers, electric engineers, et cetera, are here. Nobody needs our stuff, come on, let's be honest. It all comes down to music, right? It's reproducing music which is so personal and can hit so deep. When you hear in a way you maybe not have heard it before, with that quality and power of what we can give, that's behind our product. And that's what I'm really proud of. What we're doing is bringing joy to somebody, and I love that.
This system will no doubt make the Broncos owner very happy. Since this is a roadster, the stereo had to be waterproof. KIKICKER provided a 900-watt marine stereo, and to make sure the music can be heard over the roar of the Coyote motor, an amplifier powers 6 speakers and 2 10-inch subwoofers. And with that, the interior on this classic Bronco is nearly finished.
Obviously on this Bronco, to me, there's kind of 3 focal points. The exterior, the look of it, the great wheels and tires the customer picked. The engine, the drivetrain is very impressive. You pop the hood, hey, it's a new Coyote. That's unusual for an old Bronco. That's really cool. That's the new Ford motor. And then boom, interior. It's the hardwoods, it's the leather, it's the stereo, it's the custom dash. with the gauges. If you think about it, we probably put more time in this interior than on any build we've done, and I'm okay with that. You know, you see it, you walk up, you look under the hood, boom. You spend the rest of your day looking at the interior. That's where they're gonna live, so to speak, when they're driving. And I think it looks great.
I second that. This Bronco looks terrific, but it's not finished yet. When we return, the brand new muscle car gang sets out to make this black beauty look even better. And we get an insider's look at the most famous Bronco of all time.
Brand new muscle car classic Bronco is brought to you by Raybuck Auto Body Parts, providing quality restoration parts since 1985. Kicker Performance Audio, living loud. And by Tom's Bronco Parts, the largest inventory around of 66 to 77 Ford Bronco parts and accessories.
Welcome back to Tulsa, Oklahoma. You've heard it over and over again. This is a city that was built on hard work, and that's how the brand new muscle car team has built their reputation. Everyone here has a ton of experience with classic cars and trucks of all kinds, including what might be the holy grail of muscle cars.
This is one of my favorite projects here. You might recognize it as a 6.9 Camaro, but if you look closer, this is a real Yenko. This is a one-owner 1969 Yenko Camaro. It's one of 3 that were ever gold and white. It's one of 2 that's in the Yenko Club nationally that's still owned by the same original owner. It's very rare, came from Connecticut. They saw the show, they called us, they said, you have to restore our car, and we were honored to do it.
It's a whole different persona back in the day. If you had a Yenko Camaro, you were the top dog around, you know, or a Yenko Nova, or any of the Yenkos. I mean, that was just a big deal back in the day. I mean, that's what we do this for, is working on these old classic cars that nobody sees. Let's get them back out there so people can see them and enjoy them and see what the people in the 60s and 70s actually drove. The original plan of the car was to put an engine back in it that was more like the original, because the original engine had been blown up at one point in time and stuff. So we were going to repaint a few parts on the front that had been chipped and scratched and freshen up the engine and the engine compartment. Once I started tearing into it, we found a few more issues with rust in a couple spots and everything, and now I believe the owner's plan is to do a full-on restoration on this car because it is so important. When we start on these cars, you tell the customers it's an estimate. It's not a set price because we don't know what we're going to get into until we actually tear into the car and tear it apart. Most of them understand because most of the customers that we have are car people. Some of them probably get upset because their baby didn't look as bad as it actually was. I mean, I told my brother-in-law when he was looking for a car back in the day, don't buy a car that has a quarter-size rust hole and pay premium dollar for it because it looks so good, when you could buy the car down the road that has a foot-size rust hole and you could buy it for a quarter of the price. It's probably going to cost the same to restore either one of them.
Well, our beautiful Bronco is almost done. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel, but there's a lot left to do. We got to do some cleaning, some buffing. We got to put the hood on, the emblems on, the mirrors. At this point, the boys are like ants on a candy bar because the customer's going to be here real soon.
Don't nobody go, whoa, or anything like that. Oh, you screwed it up. We are ready to go, right?
Yes, it's there.
To me, this first generation Bronco is the best one that they've ever made.
Right. Be careful. Whoa! Whoa, that's not where that needs to go.
Hey, not there.
The square lines of it and what you can do to it and just the way that it looks. Take the top off, you take the doors off, it's kind of like a Jeep, but not. Of course, I think it looks better than the Jeeps myself, but they're just hard to find for one because everybody wants one. I just love the way they look.
All right, now let's put the bumpers on.
Let's do it. Today, gentlemen, we're on a time schedule.
Really?
Deadlines.
It's there, but it's at an angle.
Yeah, we knew that might be a problem. We might have to pull that off and waller that hole out a little bit up on the...
Yep, there it goes.
There it goes.
What's cool about this one is that, for one, it's never going to have a top on it. We're shaving the doors, so it's not going to have the typical frame around the doors for the glass, so it's never going to have that. So it's going to be a convertible all of its life.
I got a feeling that was way harder than what it should have been.
Guess what? Still got one more to do.
I just like the whole look of just the meanness of it being a four-wheel drive. I mean, I like four-wheel drives better than I do cars. So as far as what we're doing to this one, I wouldn't want to do it any other way.
There we go. Okay.
All right, what we're doing now is we're going to go ahead and install the VIN, the vehicle identification number. This is actually the original VIN for this truck that Ford issued back in 1966. So now that I've got the pilot hole drilled, I'm going to go ahead and drill the actual size that I need. My wife's first vehicle was a '79 Bronco. My wife wants me to build one of these. Of course, you know, she knows me and probably knows that it won't happen anytime soon, but she wants one.
So trust me, you need to put down that remote. We promised you the most famous Bronco in the world, and that is coming up next.
Learn more about the Ford Bronco story in Todd Zerker's new book. Get your copy of Ford Bronco, a history of Ford's legendary 4x4 at cartechbooks.com and at popular retailers in-store and online.
The Bronco is very unique in the story of the sport utility in the United States because it's really the only vehicle that has an incredible background with racing history, particularly desert racing. The other manufacturers dipped their feet into those venues, but really the Bronco dove headfirst in almost as soon as it was introduced back in 1965. So Big Ole is probably the most famous Bronco of all time. It was built by the famous race car driver Parnelli Jones, who, among other things, won the 1963 Indianapolis 500. He raced it from 1970 to 1974 and probably did more to increase the Bronco's popularity from racing than any other vehicle or any other person in history. Some features about it that are real unique. First of all, the thing that stands out is the wing. When Parnelli built this truck, he had come from a road racing background, and wings were becoming popular on those cars in the 1960s, and he said, instead of just making this expanded sheet metal, let's make a cool wing out of it. It also has a flap that's adjustable by this bar here inside the truck. It's all fiberglass body. It's a tube frame chassis. It has coil springs front and rear, which was very high-tech and very unusual at the time. It also has what's known as a full floating rear axle, which if your rear axle breaks, the wheel doesn't leave the truck, it stays on. That was a great safety feature. Another neat feature that Parnelli incorporated on this truck from his previous road racing experience was this little piece of plexiglass and a scoop right here, and he brought that over from his Lotus racing cars. This actually sucks air in here. The air comes up and forms a wall of air, if you will, right here, which helps keep the dust out of the driver's faces. Both Parnelli and Bill Stropp, his co-driver, had open face helmets back in those days, so they sure liked that.
All right, now I'm gonna get ready to start buffing the hood. One of the things that you really can't help is any dirt or particles getting in the paint. We've got to knock it down. This one actually came out really good. I've got a couple of pieces of trash that I'm noticing right here. There's another one there. I'm just gonna wet it down real good. When you're using the wet dry paper, you just really want to keep it nice and wet. For a show finish, what we always do is we 1,000 grit, then we step down to 1,200, then we go to 1,500, then we go to 3,000. For this right now, I'm gonna just kind of demonstrate what we do, how and what I'm looking for, and then we'll go from there and see kind of what we come up with. And a lot of the time, when you spray clear out of the gun, it just has like an orange peely look to it. This one, we're not gonna knock down just completely flat. So you can see where I've sanded real good right here. And then whenever you run onto a good, what we call a dirt nib, you can really see it when you haven't sanded it all the way. So like here, I've got a dirt nib there, I've got something there. This is where you can find all your little imperfections. And up here, see how I've got it nice and flat and smooth? That's really good there. So what I'll do is I'll just come back into this area and I'll continue to work this, and then we'll go over the top of it with a buffer and get it to polish back out to shiny. So I've got this spot sanded out like I want it. It's real flat, real nice, right where I want it. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the 3M compound with the wool pad. I'll knock my heavy sand scratches down. Then I will come back over the top of it with the orbital buffer to kind of polish it out. I've got the middle of it nice and buffed out, clean, but right here on the edges, if I don't get those buffed out clean, no matter how much more I do to the outside, I'll never get those out if I don't do that with the wool right away. I don't want to get too hard and heavy on those edges or tip my buffer over those edges because you'll burn through an edge. Here we are 24 hours before the customer gets here. Last thing I want to do is have to repaint this hood and do it all over again. All right, I'm done.
That looks awesome.
What the world?
Missed the spot.
We're not finished yet. Still more to come from Oklahoma. This Bronco's exterior gets some final touches. And we round up another famous Bronco in our Bronco Corral. Keep it right here.
Brand new muscle car classic Bronco is brought to you by Wild Horses 4x4. Isn't it time you answered the call of the wild? Rhino Hitch, the most versatile adjustable hitch on the market. And by No Limit Engineering. We build them, we test them, and we drive them.
Bill Strop raced Broncos back in the late 60s, early 70s, and there came about the Strop Baja Bronco. 1971 to 1975, there were around supposedly 650 of these made, this being one of the first ones. They had some unique features, automatic, which was not available on a Bronco until 73. 71 and 72 Broncos came with a Strop adapter, which adapted the transmission and transfer case to an automatic. That's kind of why I wanted a 71 or 72, and I was lucky enough to get this 71. The Strop Broncos had unique features. They had dual shocks all the way around. They had bumper braces that actually held the bumper in place if they were to hit something. A padded steering wheel, special Strop roll bar, a modified Strop trailer hitch. They also put a transmission cooler underneath for the automatic transmissions. I don't know the exact basics, but a lot of them were ordered through Ford and they were sent to Strop's shop in California. Then they were modified. The satin black hood was made for the glare when they raced. The VIN tag on them, where they had the two-tone paint, they left that blank. There were different ways of ordering. I'm not sure all the different ways, but you could order it. It was sent to Strop's shop and then sent back to the dealer with the modifications. And people today, I think, respect what he did. I consider the Baja, I guess, one of the pinnacle Broncos. I love the history of the Bronco, and I knew one day I wanted one, so it's been a great truck. I've had it for probably about 4 years.
Now it's time to reinstall the hood. That usually falls to body guys Martin and Tony, but they're not in. The rest of the crew are glad to do it, but they've hit a snag.
Oh, this is gonna be bad.
Okay, let's me and you go straight up and down as we can.
Something ain't right, gentlemen.
Why?
How am I supposed to screw that in whenever I can stick my finger in between it?
Okay, let's set it down for a minute.
Okay. What's it doing? Is it flush?
Yeah, but it's hitting right here. So if you open it, it's gonna, if you have that bolted up right there, since that is so recessed, this, as soon as you open it, it's gonna crush it. Are we sure that there's not something else that's supposed to go in there? I didn't take this apart, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's go grab Richard. Didn't Richard do it?
No.
You know what we're unfortunately gonna have to do? Go look at one of the 15 other ones that we have over there at the other shop. You're supposed to figure out a solution to our problem. You come back with a dadgum ice pop?
This is a solve to all problems. I was hot.
Okay, then where's ours?
Oh, was I supposed to get you one?
You've seen these vintage Broncos throughout our series. They're here for one reason, and that's to make sure this brand new build is faithful to the original Bronco.
This one is showing all the way up against it. Does that one?
Yeah, that's flat up against it.
That other one had shims in it that we had.
Here, like that.
Yeah, there's a shim right there. This one's got some thick shims.
Well, that one's been hammered the hell out of.
Yeah, that one's got like really thick shims. Huh, dude, I would have never guessed.
So do we want to steal shims while we're here? The hood's got to be on before we go home today.
Hey, see if you can't find some like laying around.
Hey, found another shim. We got two now.
One for each side. I'll hold these.
We got factory hood bolts we can poof can black.
Okay.
Let's go do it.
Let's do it.
I'm almost wouldn't mind somebody inside of it helping us hold. Mason, he's your offspring. Get up here, and we're gonna raise this hood up, and you're gonna help us hold it up and down.
Okay, y'all are taking it.
All right.
Drop the hood. Let's see if I can shove that down in there. Okay, hold on.
All right, got the shims in. Let's check out the gap. Make sure where everything's good. All right, good on that side?
Yep.
Okay, all right, we good on that side?
Good.
Good here.
All right.
Yeah, I like it.
I like that gap.
All we gotta do is put a latch in it, and I think we're golden.
Cool.
Sounds good.
All right. I like it, guys.
You've been able to watch this Bronco build from the very beginning. And next week, the owner finally gets to see it and drive it for the first time. Don't miss the next episode of Brand New Muscle Car Classic Bronco. We'll see you then.